Hello, the title of this video is called Soul Calling, and it's part of the Heart to Soul series of inspired short videos. Soul Calling is a wonderful description of the Divine's personal invitation to our hearts. And I would like to read to you an extract from our forthcoming series of live webinars, which begin on Saturday the 5th of March, based on the teachings of Teresa of Avila, the great Carmelite mystic and doctor of the Catholic Church, the Interior Castle. And here she says, "Could you be a mystic without a monastery?" And Caroline Myss says, "I've written this book because I believe thousands upon thousands of us have been anointed to follow our callings. I hope that my interpretation of Teresa's and other mystics' spiritual guidance in a language suited for contemporary times will help you onto your path. And as I walk with you into your castle, I can assure you that you will recognize the ground beneath your feet. Its mansions and rooms will begin to feel very familiar to you. The castle of your soul is, after all, your rightful home." And here comes the punchline. You never know how God is going to get you. What is God asking of you today? What is your soul calling you to do or to be in your life right now? What purpose is your life's journey? When you enter the castle, you will find some answers. Seeing your soul as a castle and yourself as a mystic is like having a new lens through which to look at your life. You can see more clearly, notice the shapes of events and patterns more sharply, and you don't want to use an old paradigm or an old pair of glasses to find a new path, especially for your soul. And you don't want to use a new pair of glasses in the wrong way. You want a new, deeper view of yourself and your life that sees through the visible, ordinary reality and into mystical truth. You don't want to try to look backward. And St. Paul wrote that in the invisible must be understood by the visible. And that is what a mystic pursues, knowledge of the divine, the absolute. Teresa of Avila says most people living ordinary lives would not consider themselves mystics because they don't understand what a mystic is, or they think mystics reside only in monasteries pursuing absurd compulsions to starve themselves. This is an outdated view, my brothers and sisters. These days, many people, no doubt you too, are being called into a deeper experience of God in many ways. That is what a mystic is. Someone who wants to engage in direct dialogue with God. That desire ignites an interior flame that burns for the rest of your life, lightening your way. Great fire can follow a small spark, wrote Dante. Perhaps you feel a mysterious stirring deep within you, a restlessness, even an anticipation that you don't understand. Perhaps you have a sense that you need to get in harmony with an unseen order. It could be the beginnings of your mystical birth. And for some people today, a soul calling reveals itself in an instant. But most of us have to contemplate the guidance we receive in order to understand it so as to respond to it. To help us read God's symbols and mysteries, we turn to the spiritual masters and mystics. Dear friends, the concept monastery without walls is quoted a lot today. We within the Teo community, we are an online virtual community but we are real, we are tangible, though we don't have a set structure or a base apart from here, which is part of my home, where I live the consecrated life as a bride of Christ, as a Christian, monastic, a Franciscan, a member of the Teo community of interfaith Franciscan Universalis monks. We are men and women who've heard the call, and we come from different faith traditions and none. We come from different sexualities, where our sexual orientation is not a bar or a deterrent, because our sexuality is God's gift of Himself to our soul. But conventional monasticism, whilst it appeals to the individual who needs to have an institutionalized life, there are many of us who may have lived in that institutional type environment where it does not resonate for the soul. And I know of many spiritual men and women who have given their lives to God as contemplatives, as religious, in conventional Catholic monasteries and orders, but they had to get out. They couldn't breathe. They were stifled in their soul. It was too regimental. But it works well for some, but not for everybody. So today, the vision of Francis, the vision from God through Lord Kuthumi, who incarnated as Francis, and Sri Chinmoy, are speaking to our hearts to embrace the divine through simplicity. By engaging with God through the natural world, we embrace the energies of Mother Earth through the Franciscan soul of peace, simplicity, harmony, integrity, unity, forgiveness, compassion, and love. So we who live in our monasteries without walls, we have heard the soul calling. We have heard the divine within our soul inviting us to embrace personal intimacy. Though many are given the invitation, not many follow it through. But isn't that life? It takes commitment to honor the soul calling. It takes perseverance, and it takes a degree of sacrifice. But if it's worth having and worth living and worth doing, then it's worth making those minimal sacrifices. Because when you surrender the heart to that mystical relationship of divine love, the gifts that you receive far outweigh the sacrifices we've made. Because we embrace a God of abundance, who provides for all our needs. Those of you who know me and who've been here will know that some days when I've had no more eggs from the hens because I've had to sell them to make money to pay for their feed, especially their corn, which is quadrupled in price, my heart goes up to God and said, I fancy a homemade cake. But I offer up and I bless the situation because there are no eggs. And later in the afternoon, I'll be guided to go into the garage to get something. And guess what? A neighbour has baked me not only a cake, but filled it with the most beautiful butter icing and jam, and then on top icing and coconut, all the things I love. So my God provides for my needs in a tangible way. There are days when a bill comes and I think, oh my God. So I bless it and I hand it over. And I just say the words like this: Father, Mother God, I've surrendered my heart to you in divine service. You promised me that you would take care of me. I now give you this bill. And on the 11th second, the 11th minute of the 11th hour, my God provides. So the soul calling is a reality. I hope you have enjoyed the short talk. Namaste, my dear friends.